we're going to start with making our Mamaki tea. We gathered it out in the forest, as you may recall. And this is that plant that's in the nettle family and great for diabetes and regulating sugars in the body. And now we're going to add it to this pot. I'm making enough for about 4 people. So I have about a quart here of water in the pot. And I'm going to take about 10 to 15 leaves. Or just kind of eyeball it and put them in my pot here. So you want to bring it to a boil. It's probably going to boil for about 10 minutes before it starts to turn kind of maroon brown color. And then I want to turn it down to a simmer. Just kind of make sure that the color is soaked in and the leaves are cooking down, and then turn it all the way off and let it cool. It kind of tastes like maybe a bit like a green tea. It has a little bit of sweetness to it, just naturally. Today we're just going to give it a little flavor. We're going to add probably mint, or we could add some lime or lemon to enhance the flavor of the tea. It gives you a little kick in your day. So it's a great alternative to coffees if you're trying to stay away from coffee. If we look at it, it's nice and maroon color, maroon brown. Almost has like a hint of pink in there. So I'm going to pour it into a cup. And I like to add mint to it. If it's a really hot summer day, I might add some lime or lemon. I really like mint, so put about 2 heads in a cup like this. And here you go. This is the Mamaki tea.
My name is Yuta Abitbol. Today we're going to be making a Mamaki iced tea with a little bit of wild forage honey as well and some wild cinnamon. So this is Mamaki, wild Mamaki tea. This is the Hawaiian nettle plant. So this grows up in the mountains, and I go to this one patch and I pick very mindfully because this is a native Hawaiian plant, and for me and my code of foraging, I feel like I kind of like leave them alone most of the time. But when I do find Mamaki that has holes in it like this from caterpillars and other insects, I'll pull those Mamaki, kind of prune the tree a little bit, and that gives it more chance to grow and flourish, while also I get to have some Mamaki to make my tea, ice cream, different recipes for it. But this is one of my favorite ingredients. It's a really cool ingredient only found here in the islands. So what I'll do is I'll take my leaves, I dry these out for about 2 days in my windowsill. So I feel like when you dry them, it gives it a little bit more concentration of flavor, but you can also use them just raw too. I've done both ways and they come out nice. So we're gonna throw them in our hot water over here. And in about 20 to 25 minutes, we're gonna make a really dark one today. So I'm gonna go over the regular steep time just cause I wanna see that like dark Mamaki color. And halfway into the boiling process, we'll add some of the wild cinnamon, and that wild cinnamon will give it a nice little back end flavor inside of our iced tea. So this is the wild cinnamon. I go up in the mountains, and this grows everywhere here in Hawaii, especially on the island of Oahu. It takes a little bit of skill to identify the tree and stuff. You can smell the leaves. They look like bay leaves because cinnamon is a part of the laurel family. And once you identify the cinnamon tree, you go and scrape the bark with a knife, and you get these nice chunks of beautiful cassia cinnamon. It's a different variety than Ceylon, which is what you're typically used to. This is similar to the big red gum flavor, and it has more of a savory kind of note, but it works good in light fruit dishes as well. Today we're going to add it into our Mamaki iced tea, so we have a little bit of a cinnamon flavor inside of it. And then I take it off the heat too once I add it. So put it in, take it off the heat, and just let it steep it with the tea. So we have our Mamaki and cinnamon. The tea is all steeped and ready to go. So just strain it into here. You can see that color. A lot of that color comes from the cinnamon. It has like a red dye inside of it almost. So I do is like want to squeeze it all out. All together, I would say this is like a 35-minute thing. So 25 minutes of the Mamaki boiling, and then 15 minutes of the cinnamon steeping in the hot Mamaki. It smells so good. So these are the lemons that we bought with Snap earlier. These are local lemons. Awesome. And I just squeeze them into here. Say about, be good with 1 lemon today. Okay, and so once we have our lemons inside, we're gonna put in some honey. This is some wild forage honey that my friend got in Molokai out of an abandoned cabin. It was inside of the walls and he harvested it, brought it back here on a boat actually. And so I just pour it in. I don't want to get any of the comb into this, but I'll just pour in about. On the bottom you can see it's crystallized. That comes from the mesquite wood here in Hawaii. The flowers from it crystallizes the honey. I'd say that's about like 2 fat tablespoons. And we mix it all together. So yeah, once we have our honey, lemons, and mamaki all mixed together, I'm gonna pour it into our container right here.
Hello, my name is Mahana Beamer, and today we are in the sculpture garden at the Capitol Modern on Oahu. Today I'm going to be making a Mamaki Tea jelly with fresh island fruits. But to do that first, we need to make the Mamaki tea. So Mamaki is an endemic plant to Hawaii. Hawaiians use it for la'au or Hawaiian plant medicine. It's non-caffeinated and also used for cardiovascular health. It is also the host plant to our endangered pollinating butterfly, the Kamehameha butterfly. So we like to encourage people to grow mamaki in their yards if they have the room for it. The way I make this jelly is it can be room temperature stable, unlike other jellos where it will just melt. So I use agar-agar instead of gelatin, which makes it also vegetarian. Okay, so when your water comes to a boil, all we do is just add the leaves into that. And so how I do it is I will boil it for maybe 10 minutes, put the lid on it, and I'll let it sit overnight. Okay, so the tea has been boiling, and you can either strain the leaves out with, I have this tool here. So in here we have about 3 cups of the Mamaki tea. And what we're gonna do is add our agar-agar powder. So you can find this in the supermarket and use the SNAP benefits also to purchase it. It's going to look a little cloudy at first, but then it becomes solid, it becomes clear. Okay, and then you can add whatever type of sweetener that you prefer. I like using honey. I use a local honey. This here is a lehua honey, 3 tablespoons. So about a tablespoon per cup of liquid. You can use sugar, you can use brown sugar, you can use artificial sweetener. Agave is really nice. Maple syrup is good as well. So if you do use sugar, or brown sugar, or a artificial sweetener, make sure that it's just, you have to heat it till it's dissolved, and that can be popped into the refrigerator. So this is the jelly. We had it sitting in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. We popped it out of the container, and as you can see, it's pretty solid. So I also have another foraged item that I'm going to use, and it is the uala, or the sweet potato. It's a root, it's a starch. I like to use it as a fruit because the kids like it so much because it's so sweet. So this is just a banana. We have our uala, longan, or we call them dragon eyes. They're in season right now. star apple, and our favorite mango. So first we're gonna just cut this jelly up, whatever size you want. Let's cut it into some squares. You can also cut it into really small sizes and put them in tea, in your drinks. It's a fun alternative to boba. And then we're gonna get into our fruits here. So I have they call this an ice cream banana because it's so tiny. Let's cut some pieces of this to put on there. So we have some sweet potato here, and all I did was steam them. For this size, it cooked pretty fast. I think I steamed it for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. You can eat the skin if you like. Today, I'm just gonna peel it because I like the nice bright purple color. They say purple foods are good for eyesight and good for the brain. So this is probably as purple as you'll get. So right here we have longan or dragon eye. This is in season right now. It's kind of like a lychee. And then this is a star apple. And it's fun to try new fruits. When you go to the market and you see something that you've never had, it doesn't hurt to try it out. So this one, you just want to pop it right out of its skin. Oh, and there are seeds in there. Don't eat the seeds, just take it out. Okay, and my favorite is a mango. Has a funky little bump on it, but we'll just cut that off to make it easier to cut. There are lots of different ways to peel a mango. I was taught to just keep going around in circles. We kind of do what we've seen being done before, and so this is the way that my grandmother used to peel her mango. So mangoes have a seed that grow kind of lengthwise, so you can tell the long ways. So you're going to want to cut around that seed. And again, be careful if you're serving children, you want to cut it a little smaller. And so depending on the sweetness of your fruits, you can choose to add more honey, a honey drizzle, or maybe you can drizzle a little bit of lilikoi on there when it's in season to add a little bit of sourness to bring out the sweetness of some fruit. Today we have this that we found, and I thought it would be really cool to try, is this condensed coconut milk. And we'll just drizzle some of that around. And there you have it, our Mamaki Tea jelly and fresh island fruits. Great for kids, great for desserts, great for school lunch. Thank you.